Hey, what's up? I'm the Zim. This is the Zim video. This is volume 3, part 19 of my rideshare experience video series. Been a rideshare driver since February 2nd, 2017. And I've been documenting a bunch of stuff about it on the YouTube for you to hopefully enjoy. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. In the corner there's a pop-up, or down on the lower on the page you can find the red subscribe buttons and words and stuff. So check it out, yo. So let's start off. I'd like to start off with how much I made. Let's do Uber first. So $349.26 was how much I got deposited by Uber. $21 in tips, and then I did 43 rides in 17 hours. And then here's the Lyft, Lyft. I did $320.39 total, and $34.38 tips included in there. So that brings a grand total, as you can see in the heads-up display, to $669.65, and then it included $55.38 in tips. Alright, and then with Lyft I did 40 rides, about 15 and a half hours, app hours. So, the big thing to mention about this one, there's a couple things to mention about this week, so let's put up the daily breakdown for Uber while I'm talking. It's a week of, as you know, I told you I was changing my strategy, so it's going to be, I don't know, I feel like less inspired to talk about how much I made, because it's like not going to be that much. It's like, whoop-de-doo, $669. It's not really that much, and it's like, why is that inspiring or whatever, but I'll just tell you, I'm just going to keep on rolling with these shows because I just want to document the whole journey. So any of you that are interested in seeing not just what's the potential to make like $1,000 a week, like how do I do it, like what's the strategy behind making $1,000 a week. Now I'm just talking about like the reality of the job, and like sometimes you don't make $1,000, sometimes life happens, and right now, which I'm going to talk about more later in the video, which I've been talking about for the last few weeks, I'm pretty burnt out of the job. Like I don't really want to do it anymore. So I've been looking for ways to make money outside of the car, and this last week I managed to do it. I managed to find another way. I made another $100 outside of the car. A friend of mine was in town, and she actually just hired me to, instead of either renting a car or doing Uber and Lyft for all the various places she wanted to go, on Sunday she just hired me to drive her around all day, and we got to hang out. So I basically got to hang out for $100. So that worked out. So this week I kind of made $769.65. So that's okay. That's kind of close to my hopeful goal for now, which is $800. It's gonna be tight. $800 is probably not gonna make it for me. If I probably won't make it if I continue, but I'm hoping that I'll feel good a week here, a week there, and go for the $1,000 that I used to do. but we'll see how it plays out. So this week that we're in as well, I managed to find another way to make $100 outside of the car. So basically, from starting Thursday through Sunday, I'll just be going for $700. So hopefully I can make that happen. But yeah, and then here's the Lyft daily breakdown from last week. If you have any questions regarding how much I made and how I made it, or anything of that nature, feel free to post it in the comments and let me know. Now we're gonna get into shoutouts and mail time. I got 2 mail times for you as was able to come up with, but there's a ton of shoutouts, and mainly because I've been doing these rideshare nuggets, I'm calling them. I told you about last week, where there's shorter, like the longest one has been about 4.5 minutes or maybe 5 minutes, but they vary from like 1.5 minutes to 5 minutes of me just talking about ideas, and I've gotten a lot more people commenting on the channel and rideshare shows because of those videos. So I'm just going to run down. There's a bunch. So AO, Michael, In Andrew Yang, We Trust 2000, Timmy, Universal Title Here, Steven, GA Barber 27, Adam's Family 78, TJH, Carlos De La Torre. Those are the shoutouts. So thanks a lot. Alright, so let's get into, so shoutouts are just people that I haven't seen engage with the channel, and I just want to say thank you. So that's my saying thanks to all those people for checking out the show. Really appreciate it. And now we have 2 questions coming at you from you guys. The first one, let's do, what's the first one we're going to do? We're talking about the rental program. This one comes from Derek2250. It says 70 rides a week is hard to obtain, question mark. I got a fare rental 3 days ago. What time should I drive? I can't drive 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. I work at that time every day. I was planning on driving 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Seems like that's not smart. Maybe I should push it to 6 a.m. to 12 a.m., huh? Also, one more question. Even if I don't hit 70 rides to pay for the fare rental, I should be able to at least pull 201 a week to pay the rental that's given week, right? That given week, right? Wouldn't I be able to make at least $201 in Uber income a week to pay for the rental even if I don't hit the bonus any given week since my schedule is somewhat restricted? Thank you for your info and time. Yeah, so this is a good example, potential example of of like the other side of it. So I'm kind of a firm believer that the rental programs are kind of more designed for full-time drivers. Like, to make the rental programs worth it, you're either got to be a full-time driver or you have to have a job and that you make money on, and you just need a car, and you're able to get like he's suggesting just enough to pay for the car each week, the rental each week, so you're not losing any money on it, but you can do the rides and you have the time to do it. So I mean, I feel like even doing the minimum amount of rides is still kind of a lot. You know, it's not like I can work, 2 days, part a couple hours each day and make it. It's like you got to dedicate some time. So if you have a full-time job already, then you have to, work another job to make that rental cost and hopefully not burn yourself out, because you got to have rest, right? That's what the title of this whole video is today, is about burnout and stuff. So, which we're going to talk about more lately. So, I mean, he just started with the rental program. So my advice to him is basically to go it the way of only looking at trying to make the enough to make the rental cost to the $201. And I told him that I feel like you could probably do that. Like, I'm assuming he mentioned his hours he works right now, which is he's just said 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. is what he works right now, or that's when he can't drive. So he works like a swing shift, I guess. And I'm assuming that's Monday through Friday. So if he has, because he didn't say, because I doubt, he says I can't drive that every day. Like, I kind of doubt he works every day at 5 to 12. That'd be pretty hard. So maybe he does. But but I'm assuming it's a 9 to 5, or like a Monday through Friday kind of gig. So hopefully he has Saturday available, because Saturday you can easily dedicate your whole Saturday to the job. Get up at 7, work all the way till 10 p.m. or whatever, and you'll make that $200. I feel pretty confident you'd make that $200 you need to pay for the rental. So, and then that gives you Sunday off, complete all day Sunday off to chill, and then you're not trying to tax yourself during the weekdays either. You're not trying to do too much. If the other idea is, okay, from my experience, like working from like 7 a.m. to noon, I pretty typically made roughly around $70. So if he's going to start a little bit earlier, I said $70 to $80 he can make, maybe $90 he can make each weekday morning, because it's clearly not as good in the morning as it is in the evening. Like, the times that he has to work for his other job is the time that you want to be working for Lyft, for Rideshare, Uber and Lyft, because it's just the best time to drive. But if he's going to do that, then he's maybe looking at dedicating 3 days a week plus his other job to do it. And maybe that'd be better for him. Maybe he feels like he can be more sustainable. My worry, just the worry in general, is the sustainability of it. Like, just getting burnt out. Just like eventually after a few weeks of having to work every Saturday or whatever it may be, and then you're also working your 5 days in your other job, it's like that can catch up with you. I don't know how old this guy is, and if he's at my age or older, that could be pretty taxing. I don't know. So it's just something to consider. So just try it. That's my number one advice. If you're doing it part-time and you work basically a weekday job already, a Monday through Friday job, I would say just devote your day of driving to Saturday. I'm a firm believer that it's better to do bigger chunks than shorter chunks multiple days. Like, if you're doing it part-time, because it just you feel the ability to make the money better, because the money is slow. It comes in so slow that sometimes you devote a few hours here and there and you've made like $20 and you're like, this sucks. But sometimes the way the day swings, the bell curves of the day, You just got to give it a really wide berth and say, like, let me work 8 to 12 hours today. And then you're like, oh, man, I made 200 to 300 bucks. Awesome. This is really great. So it gives you a different perspective. So that's question number 1. Hopefully that's helpful. I don't know if you dig on, hopefully you dig on my thoughts about that. The next one comes from dude from La Venza. Vinaz. Dude from La Vinaz, I guess. I don't know. He says, hey man, so I just filled my Q1 tax estimate for 2019. I'm really curious about what your expenses are. In 49 to 52 hours, I make $12.50-ish. I spend $150 a week on gas. Gas is up 25%. It used to be only $120. $294 on my car payment. $172 on my commercial insurance policy. $24 on my car wash membership. And $50 to $80 aside for repairs, maintenance a week. Another $60 aside for taxes. Only need $45 according to QuickBooks Self-Employed. Comes out to about a week's worth of driving and expenses. Yeah, that sounds about right. I think it's dangerous to look at it in terms of the week, because obviously most of these things are monthly costs. Your car payment is a monthly cost. Car wash is a monthly cost. Taxes, possibly. I don't know. Taxes are a little bit of both. So the way I'll answer this, he's just curious about what mine are. I've talked about them before. Let me see if I can do this from memory. I didn't write any of this down. I do $200 for gas a week. I just set aside $200 for gas a week already, just off the top. And since I'm kind of trying to drive less, that probably will go down a little bit, but I still just it's in part of my accounting to put $200 aside for gas. My car payment is about $366 a month. So that so about 4 plus insurance is another 100 or so. So 450. Let's just say 450. 450 for car and insurance a month. So divide that by 4 for weeks, basically. What else do I do? The car wash, I pay $20 a month for car wash. And then my stuff I put in my car, the water and dum-dums and gum, it costs a long time ago. I did the math, so it was $44 came up with per month for that. And so let's just say $50 a month just to make it a round number. So that's that. What am I missing? Am I missing the taxes? That's the big one, right? So this is he's talking about Q1 quarterly taxes, all that stuff. And I stopped paying quarterly taxes after the first year doing this. The first year I did it, I went to an accountant, and I still use today. I used them 2 years in a row to file my taxes for me. And the first year, I did quarterly taxes. I paid $300 a quarter because I talked to him during the first quarter of taxes, and he was like, yeah, based on what you're bringing in and your other situations in life and your expenses and stuff, it really doesn't look like you're going to be paying anything, but you need to pay Social Security. It's just a good idea to pay something. So he was like $300 a month. So that's what I was doing. I was paying $300 a month, or not a month, a quarter for my taxes. At the end of the year, I didn't get a ton of money back because I had a household, all my expenses. Like I claim this room, I track all my miles, like that kind of thing. So like in dude from La Mina's thing, he says the gas, he pays X amount for gas, but you don't really claim the gas price on your taxes. You claim the miles you drive on your car. So you need to be tracking your miles, because the miles supposedly include maintenance on the car, gas, all the things like that. They include that in the thing. So what you pay for gas isn't as relevant as what your miles are. That's from my understanding. So just should be tracking those miles and stuff. So then the next year when 2018 came along, I was like, well, I got so much money back. Like, why should I even bother paying for my tax? I've talked about this before. So I didn't pay any quarterly taxes. And then I filed right away at the beginning of the year when the taxes were able to come out, when we started getting all our forms and stuff. And I got like a bunch of money back again because of all my expenses, running a business, all the miles, being head of household, all the different ways that I get write-offs and tax incentive, things like that, worked out to my favor. That I really didn't, because even though I made a bunch of money with Lyft, because of all the write-outs, it went way down. Like my adjusted gross income was like super duper low. So I just don't worry about it. But my situation is like completely different than a lot of people's. Not completely, but because I can mainly it's the big thing is being able to claim head of household. and running a business. Like everything I do, from all this stuff, whenever I buy a new microphone to computer to whatever, to I bought a car last year, everything I buy is a part of my business, because it's not just rideshare driving. I made my business everything I do, all this video stuff I do. So I do rideshare driving, my video work, my art, my music. Everything I do, everything I buy for all that stuff is part of my expenses. You know, renting this room, this is my office right here. We're in my office, so I can write off a portion of my rent, and portion of my phone is like 99% is for work. So I write off if I buy a new phone, or my phone bill and all that kind of stuff. So like there's all these kind of write-offs. I guess the moral of my story today is hire a CPA and figure it out that way, because you know, I think it's worth it. I paid $400 for my CPA, and the ease of mind plus how much money I was getting back just was worth it. Like, it was totally worth it, because I don't want to deal. And then if something's wrong, it has his name on it. He's the responsible one because he got all my documents, and he's kind of the responsible one. So it kind of takes the burden off me to be responsible. Like if I did something wrong and I got money back that I shouldn't have, or whatever, you know, like different things like that. So I feel just for myself, the whole ease of mind aspect of hiring somebody is worth the $400 or whatever it may be to do it. And if I don't know, I like to look at things like that, like that first question: how do you divide up your expenses? You know, do you look at it per week or do you look at it per month? And with $400, if you look at it divided by 12, what is that? I don't know. I'm not good at mental math, but you know, it's just not that much per month if you just put aside that much and say that's how much I'm going to pay my CPA at the end of the year. So something to consider. All right, so those are my questions. Thanks a lot for sending them in. I love them. Love answering your questions. I'm going to try to keep this under 20 minutes today. So the last thing I want to talk about is just the fact that I'm pretty burnt out, and burnout is real in this job. And so for a long time, I have been, when I started, it's interesting for me how this journey, like watching these videos, the journey of doing the job till today has gone for me with like, I was pretty high on it at first, like I call it new driver high. So I was pretty high on it, really excited about it. I was working really hard at first too. Like you saw some of those videos where I was working 70 hours and just some ridiculous stuff like that. But it wasn't sustainable, because I totally burned myself out the first, like within 6 months I was like fried. I was so fried. So I had to adjust my strategy. And then, so I adjust my strategy into like a sustainable, way more sustainable model of we're only working 5 days a week. And then finding the good times to drive, like I've been talking about a lot lately. Like I think one of the number one worst things you can do is driving when it's slow, especially if you're planning on doing this in the long haul. If you're out there in your car when there's no rides, you're just fatiguing yourself for no reason. So get out of the car, get rest, go home, take a nap, you know, do whatever, but work when it's busy. And that's kind of like, that's why it's hard to do like the straight 8 type of shifts. It's like you're gonna run into slow times. Like that first question, he wanted to work like into like the noon to 3 o'clock hours, and that's, you know, it may work, but my experience is it dies pretty slow during that time, so I would say avoid it. So, but anyway, so now I'm here, and I'm just like the new strategy I came up with was somewhat sustainable. Like I was in and out of, you know, it was hard. It's hard. This job is not easy. It's not an easy job, but like I've always said, you know, the trade-off is being independent, you know, and for me that's still pretty strong pull. Like it's still a pretty strong pull, but it's getting weaker just because I am so burnt out of the job, and I'm starting to, like, the justification of saying I'm independent is getting a little bit harder to justify for me, because it's just like eventually, like I'd hoped, you know, maybe it's just San Diego, maybe it's the job, maybe there's a lot of factors involved, but I'd hoped that by now I might have gotten ahead a little bit more. I wouldn't be as kind of behind as I still am right now, but with the finances and stuff. But since I was never able to really get ahead, that extra burden, that weight, and then doing the job, and then sitting in the car for so long, and all that kind of stuff, and the weird schedule, the weird sleep schedule, and all that stuff was just kind of started. I'm at a tipping point right now. The scale is at a tipping point where it's like, it's I'm really not feeling it. But like I've said in the past videos, you know, I'm kind of the light at the end of the tunnel is visible because I'm going to grad school in a few months in August, and I only have a few more months to make it. And so I just hope I can make it, because it's just, I don't know, it's been pretty difficult to want to drive anymore for me. So I mean, I guess what I just want to stress, if you're watching this video because you found it and you want to become a driver and you're doing your research and different things like that, I can't stress enough, you know, finding ways to make it sustainable, and be very cautious about the new driver high and just trying to go out there and just bust it, especially if you want to do it long term. If you know you're only going to do it for a few months or whatever, no big deal. If you're going to try to do it for a few years, just figure out a rhythm that makes it sustainable. Maybe, you know, like when I first started, I was hoping I could make like, you know, like $1,500 a week or something. You know, then I realized like the reality of working in San Diego and the reality of the job is like, oh, okay, I'm looking at more like $800 a week because of the car I was in at the time. I wasn't qualifying for bonuses and just different things like that. And then they changed stuff. That's a longer story than I have time for or want to spend time on right now. But but it's just, you know, just giving yourself time to learn the job, so you can kind of get a reality of what it's like in your area, how much you can actually make, when are the best times to drive, when you personally want to drive. That's can be very different than when the best times to drive. Like maybe since I don't drive at night, maybe I'm missing out on an opportunity. I don't know, but overnight I should say. But I found how to work it between 7 a.m. and 11:30 p.m. and I know the best times to drive in those times. So yeah, that's just some of the things to consider. Just be very cautious about going too hard too fast. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say about that. I'd love to hear from you. Be sure to comment on the videos. Be sure to subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching. Remember to be excellent to each other. And I hope your rides are like long, because long rides are the best, and you get big tips, because rideshare passengers don't like to tip, but I'm hoping that they will for you. Alright, till next time, be excellent to each other, like I just said. Peace.